that if you carry the obesity gene, if that is what you have, that is what makes you overeat. You don't overeat and become obese. Obesity causes you to overeat.
Eating is still a choice. Overeating or eating very unhealthy foods is a choice. All right, guys, I did not plan on talking about The View again so quickly after just covering them yesterday. I can't say that I'm like an avid viewer and I turn it on during the day, but clips do come across my feed. And when it comes to absurd content and media bias and left-wing nonsense, they are kind of a gift that keeps on giving. I wasn't really expecting this twist, though. They just had on Oprah Winfrey, the massively successful media mogul and I believe a billionaire, to talk about obesity and GLP-1s, or what we know as like Ozempic and Wegovy and these other medicines that have helped a lot of people lose weight. And I'm not against the medicines. In fact, I think they're great. I think obesity is a severe crisis, and that if people need medications to treat it and live as a healthier weight and make better choices, okay. Ideally, maybe they'd be able to do it through willpower alone, but if you need some pharmaceutical help, not really my concern, and I think it's probably a good thing if it helps people ultimately reach a healthier weight. But I do have a serious issue with kind of the fat positivity movement and their straight up inaccurate information about this subject, where they seem to make it seem like, oh, it's all beyond our control and we have no agency as individuals and all this. And unfortunately, Oprah seems to have bought into that, at least based on this clip that we're going to go over. Let's take a look at that.
All these years, I thought I was overeating. I was standing there with all the food noise, what I ate, what I should eat, how many calories was that, how long was it going to take. I thought that that was because of me and my fault. Now I understand that if you carry the obesity gene, if that is what you have, that is what makes you overeat. You don't overeat and become obese. Obesity causes you to overeat. Obesity causes you to have all of that food noise. And what?
We have to talk about this because this is not true or correct. It is true there are genetic predispositions towards obesity and there are a variety of factors that can influence it, but eating is still a choice. Overeating or eating very unhealthy foods is a choice. And she seems to suggest that you're just destined genetically to be obese and that it then makes you pick up the fork and eat too much or make unhealthy choices. That is not true. And it doesn't even make sense on its face, because why would it be that the United States seems to just have all these people who happen to have the disease, the genetic disease of obesity, and in other countries it's super rare. Well, they just don't happen to have that disease there. No, we can acknowledge complexity and nuance to the topic of weight gain and weight loss, and it is not super simple and easy, but I cannot stand this pseudoscientific misinformation that portrays people as if they have zero agency and choice. That is not true. It is not reality, and it is not helpful or honest. To me, it's discrediting to even begin the conversation this way. We're going to continue, but do make sure to subscribe, hit the like button. This clip actually gets even a little bit crazier, and do consider becoming a channel member to support my work as I call out the left and the right. I don't pander to YouTube's partisan algorithm, so the best way you can help support me in doing that is by becoming a channel member today. Hit the join button or the link in the description. You'll unlock full access to ad-free early access episodes of the Brad versus Everyone podcast every day. Now let's keep listening to Oprah here and the lovely ladies over at The View.
And what the GLP-1s have done for me, and I know a number of other people, is to quiet that noise. And so the new freedom is having the calmness and the space to do other powerful things in your life without worrying about what you just ate and how much it was and how many calories. Isn't it? We bored ourselves for years. We bored ourselves for years. So many of you in the world are thinking it's about willpower. It is not. Because I thought it was about willpower. I thought that moment, oh, it's gone. I thought that moment had proven that I have the willpower, because I went 4 months and I didn't eat a morsel of food.
So she's showing a photo of her when she lost a ton of weight, and this was decades ago, and she did it through a liquid diet. Now, look, it could be true that Oprah had a particularly hard time losing weight. She had some genetic issues or what have you, but it still was always a product of her choices. And to suggest that it's beyond your willpower, and that's why you need a pharmaceutical intervention, isn't true. If a pharmaceutical intervention will help you make healthier choices, that's great. And that's what it will do, right? It reduces your desire to overeat or to binge on unhealthy foods, and then helps you make better choices. That's literally how it functions. So the way the drugs she's pushing function is through your own willpower. You still have to make choices that are better, and that's how you lose the weight on the Ozempic. It just makes it easier to make those choices by reducing the cravings and the satisfaction you get from binging and other things, but it's all still a matter of willpower and choices. And to suggest otherwise, it's not correct. And I think you do people a disservice when you pretend that they are helpless passengers in their own lives without agency or decision-making power, when in fact, obviously, there are things beyond our control. There are broader factors that contribute to issues like obesity, but the number one determinant of your life's outcomes, in most cases for most people, is still your choices. And when we don't tell people that, when we pretend their problems are all beyond their control and due to big systemic issues and they're powerless victims, that is an intoxicating message, because people want to feel that way, because then it's not their fault and they don't have to. They can just wallow in self-pity and victimhood. But it is a message that traps people in bad states. And when they could, in fact, even if it's not easy, get out of them by telling them that it's beyond their power and beyond their control when it's not. And I don't know. She's pushing a new book all about this stuff, and I have no problem with Oprah promoting GLP-1s. I have a problem with her telling people things that aren't true to do it and pushing a victim mindset. That's the issue I have with this. Let's listen to the rest of the clip.
Food. My regret is...
Did you feel sick? Did you feel tired?
No, I didn't, because you're drinking the liquid supplements.
Still.
But after a while, after the first 4 days, you actually get energy. Oh. But I'm not recommending it, okay? But I'm saying the reason I have regret for it is because I was so ill-informed. You know, and Maya Angelou always said, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
I now know better. Yeah. And so... that's why I've written enough to help people, or co-written with Dr. Anya, to help people understand. If you're still trying to do it through willpower, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. See, that's just not correct. It's just not true. People for a long time have been able to lose weight through willpower. Now, there may be some who can't or really won't or aren't able to, and I have no issue with them taking Ozempic. Honestly, seriously, do it. If it will help you lose weight, help you live a happier, healthier, fuller life, please. But don't say that willpower is just not a thing, as if in every other country, right, where they don't have rampant obesity, severe obesity like we do, it's just because what exactly? Bad genes exclusively in the American gene pool? That ignores the fact that even when immigrants come here, they become unhealthier and gain weight half the time because it's a product of food, culture, choices, all these things that is uniquely off the rails in America. All right. And I don't like this victim mindset of willpower doesn't exist. Agency has no choices. You must take a pill. I'm not against the pill. I'm not one of these people that thinks big pharma is inherently evil. And I certainly think that if this medication will help people lose weight and obesity causes such severe health issues, then that's almost certainly better for a lot of people. And they should make that decision in consultation with their doctor. But don't push this victim mindset bullshit where willpower doesn't exist and we're all just helpless and the only solutions could be a pill. That's not true. I also want to play a clip of Jillian Michaels, who I was just recently on her podcast. Go check that out. But she was on News Nation discussing Oprah's comments, which did go viral, and she had some interesting perspectives to offer. Listen to this.
Given Oprah's history with these medications, she has a very complicated financial connection to them. Her co-author is a doctor with very significant financial ties to these pharmaceutical companies that make these drugs. I would guess the implication is there's nothing you can do about it, so you need need to take the medication. Now, if you choose to take the medication, this is America. Good on you. Please do it with a doctor's supervision. But telling people that they're not capable of weight loss outside of these drugs is truly criminal and disgusting. And where was this disease back in the 1970s when only 5% of American adults were obese and overweight, and now it's 74%? Just so happens to collide with the explosion of ultra-processed foods. The mechanism by which Ozempic and Wegovy work is by forcing you to eat less food. It proves the point. Weight loss is calories in, calories out. It works on two different mechanisms that we could talk about, but the bottom line is that's how it facilitates weight loss. And here's something else for you. I have 4 genetic markers for obesity. Obesity definitely loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. And I simply watch what I eat, I move regularly, and I'm a perfectly healthy weight. This is just fundamentally, scientifically flawed. And my strong guess is that this book is all about making more money, because that's what it's been about for her in the past when she's done this. And the doctor very openly works for these companies.
So I find Jillian's pushback interesting on a couple levels. I will say that I'm not as convinced as Jillian seems to be that the answer is financial. That's what's motivating Oprah here, is making more money. Maybe for the doctor. I don't know the extent of her financial entanglements, but Oprah kind of already has all the money in the world. And maybe I'm being naive here. Maybe people really are infinitely greedy, but I just can't imagine once you have that much money still caring about making a few extra million here or there. I think it's more perhaps that she likes having a message that people want to hear, that will get her, all these people, oh, I'm so glad that you finally told me it wasn't my fault. And I think it's more that. I think it's more wanting to have something to offer that will resonate with people. And a victim narrative and mindset does resonate with people, for sure. But just because it resonates with them doesn't make it true. Lots of things resonate with people that are actually deeply harmful. Lots of people like things that hurt them, like smoking cigarettes, like irresponsible gambling, all sorts of things. And victim mentality works a similar way. So look, again, I got no issue with Oprah taking GLP-1s, promoting GLP-1s like Ozempic, as long as it's done, in consultation with doctors and in a safe way. Knock yourself out. But I do have an issue with pushing victim mindset and telling people they are helpless victims with no agency or willpower at all. Don't do that. That's not just false, it's a toxic message that fuels the worst impulses of a certain slice of our society right now that is determined to see themselves as victims, when in reality, things aren't perfect, of course not. But we live in a time where people have more agency and opportunity than most of human history anyone could have ever dreamed of. So stop telling people they're victims and make your case for GLP-1s without that narrative, Oprah and the other people pushing this line. That's my take, at least, but you guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed and do consider becoming a channel member to support my work.